DMK is the world leader in paramedical skin revision education, with certification programs designed to give licensed professionals a thorough understanding of the skin and an in-depth study of the DMK concept of remove, rebuild, protect, maintain. Created by the botanical visionary Danae Montague King, DMK offers skin revision training and education for all ages, skin conditions, and ethnicities in more than 35 countries, harnessing the body's innate healing mechanisms to change the health of the skin. Learn more at DanaeMking.com. That's DANNEMKING.com.
You are listening to ASCP Esty Talk, where we share insider tips, industry resources, and education for estheticians at every stage of the journey. Let's talk, because ASCP knows it's all about you.
Hello, and welcome to ASCP Esty Talk. I am Ella Cressman, licensed esthetician, certified organic skincare formulator, and content contributor for Associated Skincare Professionals.
I am Maggie Staszcuk, licensed esthetician and ASCP's cosmetology education manager.
And joining us once again is Tracy Donnelly, executive director of ASCP. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Ella and Maggie.
Hey, Tracy.
I'm super excited. I am an exfoliation junkie, and I hope I'm not going to get in trouble on this show, and you're going to tell me I'm doing everything wrong. But before we do that, can I just jump in and make sure that everybody that is listening to this podcast who is a member has downloaded the ASCP Skin Pro app?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. If you guys have not downloaded the ASCP Skin Pro app, you are missing out. And guess what? It's only for members. So if you are curious as to what I am talking about and why it is so cool, you better join. Not, of course, just because of the fact that we have the best liability, professional liability insurance coverage out there specifically for estheticians, but because we're the only association out there that represents you, the solo esthetician. We got your back. Maggie, tell us a little bit more why they should download the ASCP Skin Pro app. Why?
Skin Pro app is for the esthetician who just needs to check themselves.
Check yourself.
Yeah, check yourself. It has a ton of conditions, a huge list of ingredients. So let's say you are analyzing and consulting with your client, or maybe you're doing a little bit of retail and you need to confirm a condition that they have, or you want to check if there is any allergic reaction to the product that you're sending them for home use. We're going to be talking about exfoliation in today's podcast. A lot of these exfoliating acids, AHAs and BHAs, can have reaction for conditions on your client's skin. So use that app and you can look up things to know before proceeding with treatment, indications, contraindications, and just what you should know in general.
Ooh.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Right?
Totally.
Ella says it best, I swear. Every time she just sums it right up. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
And I'm looking on there, actually literally looking on there right now under the conditions.
Yes.
Some of the conditions for, there's overview, considerations, contraindications, related conditions, related ingredients.
All of that in the palm of your hand. It's crazy, right? I think it's crazy. My brain's like,
I think
brilliant.
I think this would have been really helpful for some people, even though it's a professional only app. Some kind of a resource like this would have been helpful for all the people who were stuck at home during the pandemic, checking themselves out on Zoom and thinking, oh no.
Or what about even students, recent grads? Can you imagine how great this would be if you're a recent grad?
Totally.
Oof.
Yeah. The recent grad fresh out of school doesn't have that instructor who can back them up. They've got the app instead. They can quickly, at their fingertips, look on their phone what they need to know before proceeding with treatment.
It is so easy breezy. And it actually is so smart. If you log into the website log into ascpskincare.com from your phone, it will know what kind of phone you are logging in on and download it the right way. Perfectly for you. So it's so cool. All right, enough about this because I'm super excited to hear about exfoliation. Friend or foe? Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. So we were talking about maybe this would have been something really great, the Skin Pro app for non-professionals during the pandemic who were just checking themselves out on Zoom calls, because what happened was, I'm sure there was a lot of search engine searching. I look old. What's going on? They're in Zoom meetings, horrible lighting, and I need to get rid of these forehead/eye/wrinkles/age spots/dull complexion. So what happened was there was a lot of online purchase of exfoliating acids based on bloggers' advice, bloggers who are non-qualified, I might add. This is a lot of assumptions in my head, but
they're probably not estheticians.
Search engine. What should I do? I feel like I look old. Oh, get a mandelic acid. Oh, try TCA. Oh, I should do that. Amazon, 2-day delivery. Check, get it at home, put it on. Oh my gosh, inflammation.
Yeah. And how many people out there or clients, Ella, that you've run into who act like no pain, no gain? And so they're putting on more and more. They're bearing through that burn.
That is so me. Oh
and they're doing damage to their skin.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even ones who come to me and they're like, I just want a sheet peel. Why do you want a sheet peel? So, but in this case, they were inflamed. And guess whose fault it was? This is not good. This is not good. Guess whose fault it was?
The customers? The actual?
You'd think, right?
Well,
no.
Yeah.
It was the exfoliating acid's fault that their skin is now inflamed.
Okay.
And so for that, what we see in 2022 is one of the trends, right? And it's important as a professional and a consumer to understand this. One of the trends for 2022 is moving away from exfoliating acids because they're bad, okay?
Because so many people sat and talked about how bad they were because they did a self-home
This jacked me
care.
up. Yeah.
I will never use that acid.
This acid made me look red. This acid made me flake. This acid made me look older. This acid made me dehydrated. All of the above.
More acids.
Yeah.
But you know what? I agree with this trend and I'm grateful for it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Back the bus up. Here we go with Maggie coming in with an opposing view.
I think there is way too much exfoliation happening in the industry.
I love exfoliating.
No, time and a place. You know, when you have something you need to correct, that's when you use it. But for those estheticians, they're out there, and those clients who demand it, a monthly peel, what is the point?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like aggressive peel. You're saying a monthly aggressive peel.
I think that the term exfoliation is very broad.
It is broad.
And
Thank you
think
for that.
That this begs the question, are exfoliating acids or exfoliating acids, friends or foe, and exfoliation, how much is too much? And so before we can answer that, why don't we define the differences? Let's talk about the differences.
Okay, that'll make me feel better. Yes.
So let's start with enzymes. Enzymes are not an exfoliating carboxylic acid. They're like Pac-Man, we've heard. Like they digest the top layer of skin. You'll hear pineapple, papaya are the main enzymes. So pineapple and papaya, what are your thoughts, Maggie? Pineapple and papaya.
I think they're great. I also think you often have products that are combining enzymes and acids.
Yes. So when we get into like chemicals, the carboxylic acids, where we have alpha, beta hydroxy acids and trichloroacetic acids or trident-2-gesners or even a combination of phenol. So what's happening with those is that they're actually breaking the protein bonds, and that's what's causing a sloughing. So it's working from top through the skin layers, where enzymes are working on outer layers in. This is shimmying its way through the skin layers, breaking bonds depending on the molecular size, and then causing a release.
I think you can also look at it like those chemicals or those acids are forcing cell death, whereas enzymes are targeting what's already dead.
See, and that's what I like, because manual exfoliation and enzymes, they're already dead. So
Not always.
So you can't, are they on their last leg and just being like, oh, kill me now?
When we're looking at mechanical or physical exfoliation, you have in that category a towel, for example, right? That could be manual, or a scrub that could be manual, or dermaplane or microderm. So you could be scraping or planing or abrading, dermabrasion, abrading, new or live cells potentially. And I say that because I have had it happen to me.
Well, I have too.
Yeah, right. Think about that.
I've had it too. But, I don't know. It's going to be so hard to change my mind.
Well, we're not changing minds. We're just understanding, right? Let's just understand.
Okay.
So when we look at all of these different, we have enzymes that are going after dead cells. We have chemicals that could be going after live or dead cells, depending on the molecular structure, right? Now, do you think that there would be a time to go after live cells?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Like I said, time and a place. You have something that you want to correct, then you're using your acids, you're doing the chemical peel appropriate for that condition, appropriate for that client's skin type. But like I was saying, that client who feels it's necessary every month to come in consistently for a chemical peel, I think that's overdoing it. That's consistently creating a wound that isn't necessary.
What would be an example, Maggie, of something that would make sense that you wanted to correct? What's a specific example?
Let's say, that client is coming in with pigmentation or sun damage that needs to be corrected. You put them on a series of peels, correct the area, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the peel series is over. There's no sense in them continuing to come in for peels once that correction has occurred.
And I would say that I have an opposite opinion of that.
Ooh,
I would say depends on the depth of that correction, because peels, again, is a broad term, right? So we have everything from mandelic acid, which is a super fat molecule, so it's not going to penetrate as deep, but it still encourages the live cells to not misfunction going through their natural process versus a glycolic acid that is smaller and it's going to penetrate. Yes, I don't think that there's a place for that every month, but I say chemical peels to my clients, and I'm set up on a monthly, like 4 to 6 weeks, my clients come in. And so that could be anything from their service, could be anything from a dermaplane to an enzyme to maybe they need a little nudge that month of something different.
Well, I think then we should clarify, because we're talking about monthly coming in for an exfoliating treatment, but
Not
an
necessarily
enzyme
a peel.
is not a peel
Right.
in my mind, or a dermaplane is not a peel in my mind. So I think definitely our clients should be increasing their cell turnover for one, if they are aging and we want to maintain healthy skin and hydrated skin, but to actually chemical peel the skin every month, I don't think, in my opinion.
Because you could put a
appropriate.
mandelic acid in a cleanser and do a deep cleansing, right? And that's exfoliating, but it's not a peel, right?
Correct. That is not a peel.
But to do like a trichloroacetic acid or TCA peel every month, completely unnecessary.
Okay.
Completely
So I think you guys are
unnecessary.
closer than you thought, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's just a broad definition of peels too, because some companies include those type of fat, like those more superficial in their peels, or some people were taught that those are peels, And so it's a matter of changing maybe how you look at it and looking back to even the thought process of a series of 6, right? What is your thoughts on a series of 6 if we're looking at a chemical peel or a microdermabrasion, for example?
I think that every client is different. It depends on what their need is, what you're correcting. So you can't say to every client, we're going to do 6. It depends on how did they react to that initial treatment. How deep is, say, this pigmentation that we're correcting, given my prior example. So maybe some people 6 is what they need, but you could have another client where it only takes 3, or you've got a client where you're going to do 4 peels, reassess. Maybe you need to switch up the acid, or maybe summer's coming, not a great time to do a series of peels. So you did the 4, you're going to change their regimen to continue to correct them at home, and then they're going to come back for a different series.
I think too, it's always not only every client is different, but as their skin changes, because I think one thing too, so important, and this goes back to a couple podcasts that we've done recently on retail sales. So important is the retail home care, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you are selling, you could maybe sell just 3, a series of 3 then, right? And then make sure that it's a good home care.
And I don't sell series even.
Oh,
which is good for business,
sure,
right? To sell a series, but I sell
a program.
Yeah. I sell me.
Yeah.
And I sell a
Ella.
team. I sell a team basically.
Yeah.
Like we're in this together. I want you to come in this time and we're going to reassess. And so I won't put anyone on, let's just say glycolic acid, for example. I'm never going to put anybody on a series of glycolic acid because treatment 1, they might want something different. They might need. They might need something different than at treatment 2. Their skin has changed quite a bit because now they're on home care and now their skin is more hydrated, to Maggie's point. Maybe the melanin distribution is a little different because they're on a brightening agent at home. And so it's not as deep, or it's not, the dendritic fingers are not as long, so you don't have to do as much. Or maybe they're on some kind of a weekly nudging exfoliation. And so they don't need then maybe they need a mandelic now. And so then we assess, but then I'm getting them back in there. Maybe they've had enough chemical and now they need a mechanical.
Yeah.
So
totally.
what is that going to be? Is it going to be a abrasion? Is it going to be a dermaplane, a scrub? What do they need that day?
Hey guys, stop. Let's take a quick break.
Estheticians looking for their skincare and lash and brow products should look no further than Universal Companies. Why? We have licensed pros on staff, so when we test products, we know that Estes can trust them. And we provide a one-stop shop for everything you need, from cotton rounds to serums to microderm equipment and more. ASCP Esty Talk listeners can save 10% on a minimum order of just $99 on select brands. Simply go to universalcompanies.com/ASCP.
Let's get back to the conversation.
We touched on home care for a second, but I don't think closed the loop. There's one thing that I think the client sometimes misses, and that is that your cleanser can be exfoliating, your serums can be exfoliating. And so making sure that the client is understanding, if you are educating them, you're only going to exfoliate on these days. That very well could mean only the exfoliating cleansers, the exfoliating serums, and this exfoliating mask are used together on these days. And if they are not understanding that concept and they're using that cleanser every day of the week, they're using that serum every day of the week, that really equates to you're exfoliating every day of the week. So when then they come back to you and they're saying, wow, I'm dry, I'm flaky, and you're saying, what's going on? How often are you exfoliating? They say, well, that mask is only 3 times a week, like you said.
That one mask.
Right,
Yeah.
that one
but
mask.
What about that serum and that
Right.
But I don't know, man. I don't want to get a bunch of hate, but I guess I exfoliate every day.
Well, for some people that works.
Yeah.
I mean, that glycolic cleanser every day could be fine for you.
Yeah. I mean,
because there's some factors that go into that. What is the pH of the product? What else are you using? How often are you getting a clinical treatment, or how often are you getting services, Tracy?
Stop looking at me like that.
Because I haven't seen you on my books.
I know. And actually, I do need to get on your books. I really haven't. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think I'm a know-it-all and I've been really busy. And it's not a good excuse.
You're human. You're having a human experience.
And I use great products. And so I think, but there's something to have another human being, a pro, an esthetician, be able to look at your skin in the light, get all close to it, and that I can't do. I mean, trust me, I've spent many of hours in front of the mag mirror, but I am not probably looking at my skin the same way.
Mag mirrors should die.
I know they should die.
Burn them.
But they should, I'm not looking at my skin the same way that a trained esthetician would, a pro.
Well, that's
another. Okay, I need to go.
Yeah, and that's okay too. And that esthetician, because you probably have a mishmash of all kinds of different products. Of like, I'm going to use this today. And I forgot I had that. Let me start using this.
This one smells good. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. I don't remember where I got this, so let me put it in my bag.
I know.
And then I have my travel skincare too. That's always in my travel bag. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the only time I ever use that.
And I think we're going to have to talk about layer or not to layer, because there's a lot of controversy out there about layering serums and all kinds of stuff.
But speaking of the professional, how important it is to always follow the advice of a professional, especially when you're looking at something like exfoliating acids, especially for the example that we started out with, like, right, these Zoom calls or these Amazon exfoliating acid prime delivery, that is not always good for you. The other thing to consider as a professional is that you're in charge. So Maggie, have you had this client before? I know, who's like, I just want to peel. I just want to peel. I just want to sheet peel.
That's every client coming in for a chemical peel. That's what they say.
And what is your first question?
I'm going to say, Ella, it never ends well because I end up saying no, and that's not how this works.
Yeah, people usually don't like that. They don't really like that so much.
My first question is, what are you using at home? Oh, would love to do that. What are you using at home? I'm using, and then, that means
like what I
probably
just
nothing.
Yeah.
Like CeraVe, and I use Lubriderm and Jergens. And
I would never do a peel on a first visit.
never.
Never.
But I just made an appointment for a peel, and I'm here for a peel. And my last esthetician gave me a peel. I just want to peel because I have a wedding in 2 weeks.
Where is your last esthetician? I'm just curious. That gave you that peel.
Right. That's kind of out of business. I don't know. But I think that happens a lot in explaining this is a time for re-education. And it always seems to be that person who's not on any kind of home care whatsoever, who does have a special event coming up. And there are options. So there are other types of exfoliation that you can offer. So they'll still look super fresh, and an opportunity to explain and educate, turn them into that series or that monthly visitor of some kind of something, whether it's exfoliating or not. And then that's a good thing. But here's another question. I've seen this, I'm a social media sleuth. So I've seen this way too much. You guys, my client really wants to peel. And so what kind of peel should I do on her?
Whoa.
Yes, I do. I
what?
see that a lot also. And whereas you can't just do that cookie cutter series of 3, this is the peel that you choose for everybody. Every client is different. Their skin is going to be different in every visit. And you've got to really assess, Fitzpatrick, what do they want to get out of that peel? What are you correcting? And have that one-on-one in the first visit before you even apply anything.
And your client's not in charge. You are. Why do they want to peel? Why do you want them to peel?
Because they're best friends, that they're awesome and her skin looks so good before this wedding.
But why do you want them to peel? It's like if there's not sheet peeling, blowing in the wind evidence peeling, then it's not successful. But what's happened is that you're not causing that live cell death, perhaps, but you are still stimulating. You might be changing the melanogenesis, for example, or you're stimulating that cell proliferation. So you're getting fresh skin cells, stimulating the cell turnover rate for having the most fresh skin face forward, if you will. But it's not like that. So I would challenge anyone listening who does have that mindset of, if it's not sheet peeling, it's not working, that's not the case. And it could actually be that sheet peeling is causing damage.
Another thing too is that clients who will come in for that series, and maybe they get that sheet peeling in the first treatment, but then second and third treatment, they're getting no peeling at all. And they're upset thinking that the chemical peel is no longer working. That's not what's happening, right?
Right. You've peeled the dead cells out already. So you've returned a youthful cadence, if you will.
Yes.
You've returned it to a different rate. So there's not as much to slough off. It's not as much to clean out. Yeah. So another thing to think about always is staying within your scope of practice, whether you're doing mechanical, enzymatic, or chemical peels. Consider double exfoliation if it's permissible in your state, or if you need medical oversight. And also, don't do DIY. Don't encourage your clients to add a couple drops of lemon juice here and that and the other.
Well, don't even do DIY yourself. I mean, if you are insured with ASCP, and I know then that it's product insurance is part of the whole deal. But if you are making your own little concoction, that wouldn't be covered if something goes wrong. So you heard that here right now.
So a couple horror stories for you. When I was working for a school here in Colorado, we always teach about contraindications, analyzing the skin. I'll share 2 with you. We had one student, speaking of DIY, who had learned what the basis of glycolic acid was. So she went home and blended a bunch of strawberries and put them on her face as like a home mask, thinking she was giving herself like a DIY glycolic acid peel. Let it sit for 10 minutes and burned the crap out of her face.
Oh my gosh.
Like she looked like she had 3rd-degree burns.
That's horrible. And that's the thing, okay, so this is another piggyback onto natural skincare.
Yes.
As a formulator, you have to understand that those strawberries, who knows how long they sat in a fridge and how long they sat in a warehouse and how long they sat in a field next to GMO ingredients, right? So that is there's a lot of variables in there, not just that just absolutely creep me out. Like, not to mention the pesticides.
Yeah.
Or the actual like.
Well, or even if it's not like GMOs and pesticides and stuff. I mean, I've heard that sake and apple cider vinegar, I mean, that can do major, major damage to your skin.
Suck it to ya.
Suck it to ya.
Suck it to ya.
Am I right? I mean, that those.
It sounds good, and you read on your natural blog, and you want to go clean, and you want to go green, and you want to do these things, but you get some pH strips if that's the thing. Get some pH strips and check it out. And that's another thing I've incorporated actually in my analysis or my consultation is pH strips of their products, and be like, I don't think so.
I love that.
I do too.
Yeah, so
that is like actionable. That's like visual.
It might be a hyaluronic or it might be a niacinamide, but it's not going in your skin because it's alkaline. So anyways, but get some pH strips if you're going to do on at-home stuff and understand the skin, how it's going to react and what to look for.
Tell us one more.
One more.
Okay,
so
one more.
We didn't talk too much about contraindications for exfoliation, but there was somebody who had a cold sore outbreak. And estheticians know that if you have an active outbreak, you do not chemical peel. And this was taught, and we told her, and she did not listen, gave herself a chemical peel, and that outbreak spread to her entire chin. Her entire chin. I cannot stress that enough.
Was all full of cold sores?
All full of cold sores.
Ow.
So, and I will say now, every time she has an outbreak, it will be her entire chin.
No, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Once there, always there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Students, come on.
Listen to what those people say.
Come on. Listen to us. Let's follow not that we know everything, but we know enough.
We know some things.
Yeah. We know enough to get you out of those whoopsie-doozies.
Yeah. There's no such thing as just avoiding this one area. Because once that acid's in the skin, it travels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that is a big part, is knowing what they do as an occupation. I can't go into the details because we had a really big case here with one of our members, but knowing what they do for a living, knowing what their plans are that weekend, you need to know those details.
Mm-hmm. You need to do a thorough consultation and then a revisit, if you will. So how much is too much? I would say it depends on the client, and it should follow the advice of a professional. Understand the professional who understands the complete system, if you will, what's going on in clinic and what's going on at home. If you are the professional, making sure that you're outlining their home care program so that you can understand things like exfoliating cleansers, exfoliating serums, exfoliating masks, and then educate. Would you say?
Oh, totally agree.
Now, listeners, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on exfoliation? How much is too much? How much is just right? Let us know. Reach out on our social media platforms, especially Instagram and Facebook, or by emailing getconnected@ascpskincare.com. We want to know all the details. In the meantime, thank you for listening to ASCP Esty Talk. And for more information on this episode, or ways to connect with Maggie or myself, or to learn more about ASCP, check out the show notes. And stay tuned for the next episode of ASCP Esty Talk.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like what you hear and you want more, subscribe. If you want to belong to the only all-inclusive association for estheticians that includes professional liability insurance, education, industry insights, and an opportunity to spotlight your 6 skills, join at ascpskincare.com. Only $259 per year for all this goodness. ASCP knows it's all about you.